We're off to play the Wizards, the terrible Wizards of Washington.
Hey, welcome on in to the PHNX Suns pregame show, of course brought to you by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details. I'm Eric.
Especially if you're a lefty.
That's Devin. To my left is Espo. Farther to my left in the safe zone is Gerald. We got little silly computer boy Noah behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Before we get too far into this, that was a really good, like, was it a Munchkin impression?
We're off to see the Wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Now, what does the Munchkin think about the Phoenix Suns trading for Nick Richards?
Oh, I love Nick Richards. I'm all in on Nick Richards. I'm a big fan of an athletic big man, you know. I don't know much about that, so yeah, I love it. Let's go, Nick Richards.
How did I let you trap me in this two-shot?
What, do you not like it, Gerald?
How does this keep happening to me?
Oh, Devin, Nifty, Jonathan, Cara, Leo, Anton, Viper, Devin, Leah, Emma, in the office, also in the chat. Chris saying no, Espo. Just no. Thank you, all of you, for joining us here on this Thursday late afternoon, early evening as the Phoenix Suns get ready to take on the Washington Wizards. If you haven't already, we appreciate you hitting that like button. It helps us out so much. And also subscribing to PHNX Sports. Gerald, we got the Munchkins take on Nick Richards. Obviously, you wrote about Nick Richards. You did a video breakdown that's on YouTube right now about Nick Richards, but now it's your turn to speak. How are you feeling after the Suns made a move for a big?
I feel cautiously optimistic. I feel good about it. I think obviously he is a backup big for a Hornets team that's near the bottom of the East, so you have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt, but I do think Mark Williams, the guy who he was behind in Charlotte's a good player. And I think he's shown enough over the last year or so, especially for a Suns team whose center rotation is arguably the worst in the NBA. There's nowhere to go but up with a guy who might be able to fill starter minutes for you and bring some qualities that the Suns' current center rotation just doesn't have in terms of the size, the athleticism, the rim running. We have a lot of good screen setters on this team, but we don't have a guy who has a gravitational pull when he rolls to the rim, and we haven't had that since DeAndre Ayton, really. So it'll be nice to see how he fits in, how that vertical spacing helps the Suns out, and defensively, whether he's able to alter shots at the rim, that type of thing. I think, it's worth a flyer. This is the type of guy that you invest in. He was attainable, and now he's someone that hopefully, when given starting opportunities on a better team in a better context, maybe he'll be able to thrive and help address some of the Suns' problem areas.
Are you worried about his hands? Because a lot of people have talked about that in terms of him not always catching things cleanly, which we've dealt with as Suns fans. So
yeah, and I do think, honestly, for a lot of centers, that's going to come with the territory. I think a lot of times guards are giving quick shovel passes or quick bounce passes. You have to have really good hands in this league as a big man to not be known as someone who will occasionally bobble a pass. It's something I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on when I watch him play for the Suns. But I do think just the lob threat that he provides, it's kind of hard to drop some of those. And hopefully the Suns are able to adjust because they haven't had much of a lob threat outside of so every now and then all season long.
Steven, he will help a lot. We talked about this in our breaking pod yesterday, but he's not with the team tonight. So looking at this game, you're down Josh Okogie, you're down Nick Richards. If we take a look at the injury report as well, you are without Bradley Beal and Yusuf Nurkic too. How do the Suns tonight go out there and beat a Washington team that isn't great but does have some size?
Just by playing connected. I think it starts and ends there. They didn't play connected against the Atlanta Hawks. Therefore, they lost to the Atlanta Hawks. That's what this team is in desperate need of. And they need to put together a comprehensive win. It's been a while since they've done so. The schedule has presented them with an opportunity to do that. They traded for Nick Richards. That's a breath of fresh air. He's not with the team, but to know that you're, at least in theory, making the decisions and making the moves you need to get back in alignment with where you were to start the season, opportunity's there. It's time to start cashing in on that.
Is it Jonas Valanciunas night out in Washington?
It is. It definitely is.
I think
it's also Alex Sarr as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Before you get to JV,
I think this is a Mason Plumlee legacy game tonight.
Oh God.
He just saw the Suns trade for his starting job, man. He's gonna come
That
out
made
with
me
a
throw up a little
vengeance
bit.
tonight.
Does he go
Maybe
for-
throw.
Here it comes.
Does he go from starter to third string?
He might.
Like that. That's some tough streets to go and walk down, right? You go from starter to
Man.
we're sorry, man, you're not going to see the floor. You know, you and Nurk can sit on the end of that bench and hold it down, my friend.
Well, he is starting tonight. Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Ryan Dunn, Katie, Mason Plumlee. Buddha the Schizo with a 199 super chat before we get too far away says, Girth, you missed it. We signed Nick Richards, a.k.a. traded for Nick Richards. Thank you, Buddha. Girth, you did
Got
miss
him
it.
one way or another.
Got him. He's on the roster. According to Dwayne Rankin, who is out there following the team, he says Mike Budenholzer says that Nick Richards should be with the team tomorrow when they play Detroit, and the expectation is that he will play, but nothing for sure. So we'll get a little bit into that. There apparently is some news from Gambo that says the Suns have been unable to find a single team willing to take on Jusuf Nurkic's contract in a trade. We don't have to spend too much time about this because this is the pregame show. We can maybe talk about it tomorrow, but
Really?
anybody shocked?
Color me surprised. There isn't a market for Jusuf Nurkic.
That's crazy.
Ironically, though, tonight would probably be one of those nights that Nurkic would help. We mentioned Jonas Valanciunas, slower-footed, big center who's a big body and take up some size. We can hate on Nurk all you want, but it's going to be a pretty tough test for Mason and Oso.
it will be, but that's just not an excuse, unfortunately, for the team anymore. I don't want to give it too much attention. It will be something they have to work through, but it should not sway things to the extent where they're struggling to beat the Washington Wizards. After they just lost to start this stretch, this road trip to Atlanta the night before.
Noah, clip that just in case we need it for post game.
No.
Yeah, Washington 6-32 on the season. However, 5 of their 6 wins have come at home. Of course, the Suns are out at Capital One Arena. But Gerald, Washington is not a good team. And when we were doing our prep, you were trying to find anything that they were good at. Did you find anything that they were good at?
I did not.
Come on, they are great at losing. They've lost 9 of 10.
That part. Yeah,
Hopefully
they
10
have,
of 11.
They have the worst record in the NBA. They have the worst point differential in the NBA. They're not even like close to top 10 in most categories that I normally you comb through all the different statistics to try and see, okay, this team's good at that. This team's good. Nothing for the Wizards.
Dumb walk-in outfits because they got Kyle Kuzma.
I mean, I don't know though. Jordan Poole dressed up in his Ravenclaw Hogwarts outfit the other day. That bumped him up a little bit. I don't know.
That's
was
really
Why
weird.
why
don't
did it bump
think
him up? It
No,
shouldn't
no,
have.
No, why did he
Absolutely
do
did.
it? I didn't
You're
even
in
know
the
that
minority
happened.
on this
Because
one,
they
pal.
play on the Wizards.
Oh, that makes sense.
That is true. That is true. But I was more curious why he was wearing Ravenclaw because that just doesn't seem like his house. But anyway,
What is he, slither into you?
I was gonna say Hufflepuff.
No, he's got
he
too main
screams
character
Hufflepuff.
energy. He just takes a bunch of shots.
That screams Hufflepuff. Like they got very vibrant personality.
Steven, do you have any
Overcompensate.
clue what they're talking about?
Not even a little bit.
They sound
Damn.
like the parents on the Peanuts to me. Wah, 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 wah,
it-
wah, wah, wah,
Is it
wah,
our
wah.
fault you don't know pop culture?
Wah, 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 wah. That's not pop culture.
What's
It's
ironic
nerd
is
culture.
that's what I
one of
hear
the
when you
most
talk.
popular things of all time. It's definitely pop culture.
Nerds. Leo says
Okay.
in a super chat $4.99, I saw Gerald on SportsCenter last night.
I tweeted about John Moran and it showed up on SportsCenter somehow. Yeah.
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah, I had like 40 likes and it was on
Ooh.
SportsCenter.
All right.
That was random.
So we have a celebrity in our presence in Gerald. But we
No.
all already knew that before SportsCenter. They're like, oh, it's Girth. Put Girth's tweet up.
I bet they're going to clip that 3 minutes of you two talking about freaking Hufflepuff and Hogwarts.
Are you high 3 minutes?
You know,
It was like
like,
30
it was like
seconds.
maybe
it
three
felt like
sentences.
it felt like a lifetime, right?
Okay,
Steven?
then save us, Espo. Save us and let us know how the Suns beat the Wizards tonight.
they show up and they don't.
You took Stevens boy.
You know, I mean, it's the one
complex.
answer.
This one is
Actually
not
play
complex.
tonight.
Okay,
Show up and
can we
play
put that
basketball
aside?
tonight.
Can we put that aside?
Sure.
You're right. I'm not saying any of you are wrong.
Mhm.
Yes, they need to show up and show effort.
Do
But
you want-
what else do
hold
they
on.
need to do?
You know what? You have my key to the game. I think we need to drop it just right
Just
now.
get into it
Let's
early.
just do it right now. I mean, this is the get bored, not bored. All right,
There we go.
Rebound the damn basketball
That's the
tonight.
analysis I need.
Don't be bored out there sleepwalking against the Washington Wizards. That's how you win.
Mhm.
Get bored, not bored.
Oh, man. Certainly something. As far as getting the boards, Steven, I don't want to focus too much on the big men. So what can, I'll say your perimeter defenders, your perimeter guys, your Bookers, your Royce O'Neals, I almost said Josh Okogie,
Oh,
RIP. What can they do to help the rebounding margins even out, especially on the offensive end where Atlanta just ate them up?
Well, the Wizards have a handful of guys that like to shoot the jump shot. They're not the most efficient or effective group comprehensively, but if they're shooting jump shots, that means they're not crashing the glass. So doing a good job to the point where a shot is being taken, and then whoever is not guarding the person that takes the shot, simply just turn around, and instead of just watching the ball go from the shooter's hand to the basket, like just the slightest bit of a pursuit towards the rim,
Or-
that literally helps so
I know.
much.
It's just so
That
sad.
literally helps so much.
Turn stick butt into player closest to you. That is the key to victory tonight. Is box somebody out.
Can you demonstrate what a good box out would look like for the people?
oh boy.
Okay, not this direction.
That's what you do. You find the guy
You're
closest to you.
you're a dangerous man for
and you
going towards the left.
box it out.
No
Gerald,
words.
save us with real basketball talk, please.
I mean,
I did.
in all seriousness, I am going to be keeping an eye, and I hate doing this normally, but I am interested in seeing what the body language is like tonight, because after a trade, like Josh Okogie was a well-liked guy in the locker room, and he was one of the few guys over these last few weeks that was giving them consistent heart and hustle and energy and focus on the defensive end out there. So I am going to be curious, is there kind of more of a revitalized spirit out there, more of an urgency with, okay, we got a center coming in tomorrow, this team is going to be a little bit different moving forward, like we're excited about it? Or are they still kind of reeling from just the emotional toll of losing a guy who is well liked in the locker room? I am going to be keeping an eye on that, and that is the type of thing that can affect a team in a game like this. That is the definition of a trap game.
Oh, I mean, this is the kind of game that's given them trouble all year. The one that you should win, and they just kind of sleptwalk through them. I mean, that's just the reality of it. I think you're 100% right. I mean, it's the little things, right, Steven? And how do you actually get a team to just do that? It feels like they're waiting for Coach Bud to give some kind of insane speech or something to wake them up.
Yeah, that's not something that should have to be done, especially when you've communicated what your desires are for this season. But I mean, you can only watch so much film of guys not boxing out, or just not even, because in this modern NBA, honestly, you don't even have to, you don't have to literally Dennis Rodman every single possession, because guys don't crash the glass the way they used to in the 90s and early 2000s, even the mid 2000s. Most coaches' philosophies err on getting back in transition in case of a miss and starting the defensive possession early. So you don't even have to box. You remove the hardest part of the half of the job. Other part is pursuing the basketball. So honestly, it's not really complex. It just comes down to more than one person that's closest to the rim helping to pursue the basketball. You pointed it out a handful of times on the podcast and in watching games. Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro, if someone takes a shot and they're not boxing out the person closest to the rim, they just run in and they help to tip the ball away from the person that's attempting to pursue it from the offensive glass, and that helps the Suns with their transition offense. Little effort points like that. It's not complicated. Doesn't need a film breakdown. It's just literally pursuing the basketball. That's it.
Nate in the chat asks, how many times has KD lost to Washington? He has a 20-9 regular season record against the Wizards, has not played them in the playoffs. Of course, this team close to where KD grew up, so you can say he's back home. Patrick in the chat says, I'm definitely worried Josh Okogie not being there to bring the hustle could impact their vibes again, as they need hustle and heart more than anything the past few games. It will be interesting, like you mentioned, Gerald, to see how they respond body language-wise. I think on the court, I'm looking for Devin Booker to continue his stretch of really consistent basketball. This is a team who has some good young perimeter defenders. Bilal Coulibaly is just a ball of energy on both sides of the court and is definitely somebody who is not afraid to go and guard some of the best in the league, which Devin Booker falls into that category. But overall, this is a team that Devin and Kevin, but I'm looking more specifically towards Book, can control as far as pace. Like one of those masterful, he's getting to his spots, he's shooting threes, but at the right moments. I want to see him continue to build and snowball off of what's been a pretty good week for him. And this is the team that you can do it against.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's averaging a 27, 8, and 5 stat line for the month of January.
That's Book.
And that's with a 10-point performance thrown in there. So over these last 3 games, he shot, I think, 17 for 35 from 3. He's really improved in that respect, and we want to see that number continue because we know that the 3 ball has not been falling for him this season despite taking a career high in attempts. So I would like to see him continue that trend. But 3 straight 30-point games and 4 of the last 5. Like, this is the momentum we've been hoping to see from Devin Booker maybe earlier in the season, but better late than never. Especially during this portion of the schedule where you're playing a lot of easier teams. This would be nice to kind of build some momentum, take that in with your new Nick Richards into your next game, especially since you have Cleveland coming up on this road trip later on.
Apparently, I'm ruining the vibes, throwing off the aesthetic by not wearing a shade of purple. I apologize.
And Sean, yes, Tracy knows I'm wearing the purple pants.
You brought him back.
She
Any
wasn't
special
happy about
reason?
it. Yeah, people were complaining that my vibes were down. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to what's worked in the past. You know, boxing out the guy next to me and wearing my purple pants.
You're good at one of those things, and that's wearing the purple pants. Please don't stop wearing the purple pants because we need them. We need a win streak. We need the Suns to change up the vibes. Not your vibes, chat. Megan in the chat, David, Sean, Nate, Patrick, John, T, Cara, Amanda, Mike. I see some likes. 24 likes is great. I have a goal. There are over 230 of you in here right now. Let's get up to 70. I know we can get 70.
No.
And
Get
I know,
100.
Okay.
None of this aiming low. You sound like the Suns. I want 100.
I knew it was coming.
All right, then 100. I don't know if you guys can do it. I don't know. I'm not sure. I know you see the like button right in front of you. Prove me wrong. It's right there. Get to 100. Let's get into our predictions tonight. Let's take a look at who we are picking to win. Suns Wizards, clean sweep across the board. Espo. Oh, no, Gerald, you're the least confident. Suns by 4.
Yeah. I don't have a reason for you, man. I really genuinely don't think the Suns are playing good basketball right now. I think they've strung together a couple of wins recently, but they've kind of undone a lot of the goodwill that we were thinking about lending them over that stretch by losing to the Hawks, losing to the Hornets in the middle of that. So I think they win tonight. I don't think it's pretty by any means. We have seen how trades affect a team in the past. And I know, Josh Okogie is not Cam and McHale at the same time, but it feels like every time the Suns make a trade, they have a game on that same day where it's kind of like an emotional letdown or upheaval.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I feel like this might be one of the situations where it's someone that wasn't as firmly counted on in the rotation on a nightly basis. So hopefully that helps and that is in their favor. But to your point, that's definitely been a thing for sure.
I'll tell you what, Josh Okogie could have been used against the Hawks. You presume why he didn't play was because they were trading him the next day, but he was the type of guard that grabbed offensive rebounds, that hustled, and that's the main keys that we talked about to start this game. So I think if Josh Okogie was still on the roster, he would be playing, even if it wouldn't be getting a lot of minutes. Kara has Suns by 3. You guys let us know who you have winning in the chat. Espo, you did, I believe it was Suns by, if we throw that
10.
back up there, 10?
Suns
so you're
by
the
10.
most confident.
Yeah, because if there's ever a time for you to reward our misguided faith, Suns, it's against this putrid Wizards team. Go out there and get a double-digit victory tonight. Make it look easy.
Please. You have Suns by 8, Steven.
Yeah, like I said, this needs to be a game that they win comprehensively. Not just a pocket in the fourth quarter where they stamp their identity on it. How about playing a full game on your terms? A lead from start to finish. Like
would be
start
nice.
a stat. Like I don't like you don't.
We
Really
got to
get,
tell them that.
you don't get opportunities to bookmark as a new, like turn in the schedule for your season after it's already started. But after a trade is one of the best times to do that. And the schedule guys have lined that up with you also going against the worst team in the league. Make it count for something, and then allow for that to trickle into another and another, and let it start to snowball.
The cascading effect that we've been talking about, as bad as it has been, and the expectations have been in the gutter recently, they could turn this around. And tonight could be one of those games you look back on and say, remember when they just exercised their demons and, like Sandman says in the chat, the big two go for 55, without Bradley Beal out there. There are ways for this to be an encouraging win to build upon tomorrow when you do play Detroit, and then Sean Cleveland is on Monday, so 2 games.
Detroit's on Saturday.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Too many games going on, chat. Too many. Let's go ahead and take a look at the line. What do our friends over at Bet365 have to say about this game? Suns, heavy favorites, minus 11.5 on the spread, minus 650 on the money line. The Wizards plus 11.5 on the spread, plus 475 on the money line. So all of us have Washington covering, but let's take a look at our pregame bets, of course, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app, use code PHNX365 when you sign up, and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus and physically located in AZ. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT-STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov. Speaking of problem gambling, Espo, what are you putting your money on tonight?
Look, sometimes you just got to get a W on the board.
Oh my God.
So I'm taking Devin Booker, 15 plus points, and a minus 3,500. I believe I win 28 cents
Wow.
if it hits. But I need a win in the worst way.
A dub is a dub, man.
This is dink and
That's not
dunk.
even a layup. That's
was
like
a
a
dub.
7-footer lifts you up to put the ball into the hoop.
Look, if they lose and Devin Booker doesn't have 15 points, there's gonna be hell to pay tonight. All right,
dude, if Devin Booker doesn't have
Oh.
15 points tonight, that would be.
I kind
Oh.
of hope they just storm out to a 30-point league and Booker has like 13 and doesn't have to play in the second half.
If I don't win that bet or they lose this game, I'm breaking a sexy sax off in somebody's backside. All right, not yours. Somebody who did that, because
possible.
I'm
Catch us
sorry.
after the
I'm
game.
as far
I'm
away as
sorry,
possible.
man. This is just not
Never
good.
say those words in that
don't-
order ever again.
I don't like the way you phrase that.
ever again.
I'm gonna take my
Damn,
28
far
cents and go
away
home
possible.
if I win.
Okay, there you go. That I thought you were gonna go somewhere completely differently. Speaking of going somewhere completely differently, let's go from the bottom of the leaderboard
Unreal.
to the top. Steven, what are you putting your money on tonight?
kept it way more simple today. Devin Booker for 28.5. So if I win, Espo wins. Kevin Durant for 32.5 points and assists combined. Jordan Poole having one of his better seasons of his career and giving a little bit more space to operate with the Wizards not really having expectations. 22.5 points. And then Jonas Valanciunas having a fairly solid season for the Wizards off the bench mostly. He's going to be a force that comes in and moves furniture, especially without the Suns having Nick Richards yet. So
You might
think
get
he's gonna
that in
come in.
rebounds
I was gonna
alone.
say.
he might. I think he's going to have a loud impact in this game.
I also think Jonas Valanciunas is going to have a good game tonight. Let's take a look at what I'm putting my money on. But I'm not going for the rebounds. I feel like I should have, but I do think he's going to eat offensively, going for 20-plus points. I got Book for 30-plus, KD for 20-plus points. And KD at over 4.5 assists. That coming out boosted thanks to our friends over at Bet365 at a plus 5,300. I'm feeling pretty good on that one. The D-Book 30 is definitely the big swing there. Let's take a look at our standings,
I
Gerald.
forgot to mention mine was boosted too. So minus 35.
I don't doubt it.
It was boosted to where if you won, you actually still had to pay Bet365 money. Do we have the standing, silly little computer boy? Thank you. I'm sorry, that's so mean. Just know that I don't mean it, chat. I don't get it.
I can't wait for that 214.72, baby. All right, let's go.
See, Noah thinks that he has one over me. Like I can't just go into our Slack channel and find what he put the other day. So We're going to just sit here awkwardly until I do
Noah,
it.
the Lions are really good.
Espo at a minus 215. I'm at a minus 73.50. He does it after I do the work, of course. Steven at a positive 64.92. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Espo, we already went over your key to the game, but does anybody else have any other keys to the win tonight?
Hold on. I have one other thought for you, all right?
Oh, God.
Just because you used to take crap from behind the Mac does not mean you have to take our
it's
sweet
called
boy back
generational
there
trauma
and give Noah that kind of crap.
I've been
I
great
will
to
not
Noah.
accept this. Noah, you are a fantastic producer, a better man, and we appreciate
Hold
you.
up. Okay, screw the game. Let's talk about this for a second, okay? I spent a year getting just decimated behind the Mac. I have one little nickname for Noah, and it's like, no, don't hurt Noah.
You
Noah's
shouldn't
the
hurt Noah.
best.
Noah is the best.
Where was my Espo to stand up for me?
This is also the same guy who's criticized every producer that we've
Right. The buck stops. I finally get a shot at it, and I can't continue the generational trauma.
I had to get to the fourth producer to finally find what I was happy with.
Oh my gosh. Meatloaf says keys to a win: get more points than the other team. Noah says in the chat, my name is Noah. Heck yeah, Noah's.
I know.
That's awesome. Gerald, any final thoughts on Suns Wizards?
Just get a win, man, because I think everyone in the fan base, there's a collective curiosity, enthusiasm for the trade that just happened yesterday. Don't bring down the mood with a loss to the freaking Wizards. Don't ruin our excitement for
begging.
Saturday. Like, just let's go into Saturday against Detroit with positive vibes. Looking forward to Nick Richards. Looking forward to Devin Booker and KD betting on the Lions and Commanders. Like, let's just build some positive vibes
I
here.
so very much love the fact that we're down so bad that we are super pumped for a Suns Pistons game with because Nick Richards is playing.
Hell
We've
yeah,
come
man.
a long way.
Hell yeah.
Steven, from an actual basketball analysis standpoint, any other thoughts on tonight's game?
Ali Sarr.
Mm.
We talked about Bilal Coulibaly a little bit earlier. Ali Sarr is starting to make it. Center that can space the floor. He's knocked down, I think, 9 threes in his last 5 games. And for a center, that is very good. He has no problem taking them. The Suns have struggled to cover centers and generally big men that can space the floor and pick and roll or just as a spacer. Watch out for that in this one.
My final thoughts is don't lose to a Ravenclaw. What the hell are you doing? I'll see y'all after the game.
Nerds!
We all silly like the mayor.